So Dodging Reality is a sketch music show. Basically, it's a variety show of different talents. So it has comedy and music and art and anything you could possibly think of that an entertainer might be able to bring to you, and a lot of sketch comedy, a lot of different characters, a lot of fun. Just basically every 2 minutes you're going to be entertained by something different.
Okay.
And it's perfect for somebody who has ADD, I would say.
Oh, I love it.
Well, it's perfect for the short attention span that
Absolutely.
we all have now. So
it sounds like you're just taking everything you've done up till now and throwing it into a show, which is
basically I've been doing these shows live for so long.
Right.
And also mixing so many of my friends and their talents on these shows, and I've been doing them live. So it's been great to be doing them live, but now I have the opportunity to be able to put it on television and be able to have a huge slew of people to see what we've been doing. And I'm super excited about it. It's been a lot of fun, and a lot of people want to jump on board and be part. So I'm excited to see where it's going to go. It's just super silly, stupid fun, just dodging reality, basically.
Yes. It is what it says, right?
Minutes.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Noxy.
a Noxy? I mean, I'd love to get Foxy Noxy on the podcast. You know who Foxy Noxy is?
Do you want a straw?
No, I like this. Do you know who Foxy Noxy is?
Foxy Noxy.
Amanda Knox.
Oh, yeah. Amanda
Right.
Knox, I do.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, she's
a porn star.
No, she's not.
Then I don't know who she is.
She's not a porn star. She's the girl who was in Italy and got accused of murder.
There's another Knox porn star. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
You responded
to us.
Did you? I'm sorry. Were you saying? Were you were you ready to say you tried to get her on?
I would love to have her on. I've never tried. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, she's doing like Whitney Cummings podcast. She's not doing ours.
Yeah, maybe you gotta wait for them to come down when they're like nobody's calling anymore.
She did sit with Kreisch. That was pretty weird. Or Kreischer and her. That was an interesting one. Anyway, welcome back.
That would have been an interesting one.
Fellow lushes. Another episode coming your way with another beautiful woman. This one, multi-talented comedian, actress, writer, singer,
producer.
Did I say singer twice? I might have said singer twice.
Singer.
Her name is Anna Manis.
Trained
in comedy. And yeah, kind of.
Trained in everything.
So
she's a one-stop shop.
Did you say it the wrong way?
I did.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
What do you need?
You know, the last time we did this podcast, we did an episode of this podcast, you were really fucked up.
I see you apologize to her.
Did you? I did.
I wanted to. I almost did.
I did. And then she was like, why? Was it that bad?
Was I that bad?
And, you know, honestly, like everything else, it feels worse in the moment. Like in the moment, there was some moments that I were like, oh, that feels just like, ooh. But then when I watched it to edit it, because I did watch the whole thing because it was so short. I did watch it to edit. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. You talk a lot more than you think you did.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, because I was prepared to do the little edit of just your 10 seconds worth of words, but no, you asked some, especially at the beginning before it really started to kick in on you.
Huh.
So
I'm afraid to watch it.
No, it's fine.
I just remembered in my head.
There are times where I think Leah texted you when I was editing. There are times when you're just like,
yeah. Because I'm.
Do you remember her asking you if it was kicking in at the very end, towards the very end, when you were like trying to tell her that she has inspirational quotes on her Instagram? She's like, what?
She did say that. I did.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't.
But she did. She acknowledged it.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
She did though.
I think that's why she said, "Is that starting to kick in?" Because she just has comedy clips on her.
Watch it. I'll have to watch it again. I like she's like, "Oh yeah." Anyways, I'll have to look.
Yeah, I think she was like, "Oh yeah." If I just go, yeah,
he'll shut up. No, in my head, I remember I would say something, and all of a sudden I'm like, that was all slur. She has no idea what I just said. And then you're talking, and I'm like, I thought of something. When am I going to jump in? It didn't seem like there was a time to jump in. So I was waiting to jump in. And then when I could, I was like, there's okay, I can jump in. I don't remember what I was going to say. So then I had to wait for another one.
Do you ever do
that again?
Do you pay enough attention with what's going on? Like, does it, if you notice, because I'm typically high for these things, if you notice, I am very conversational at the very beginning.
Yes.
I get a lot of my shit out.
Yes.
And then I go, and then I just let you finish the rest, because then it started to, and you're trying to get all your thoughts out that you got right away. So, because yeah, it's the same thing. And I should start writing down. I think I should have my pen, and when I think of something, I should at least
make a note.
Yeah, because you get yourself into that spot.
And I've done it a few times
where you're like, this is a brilliant question.
Brilliant.
And then by the time it gets to you, yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought like you said when we hung up, I said, 10 words or something.
Yeah, no, you said a lot more than that. I was actually surprised when I was editing it. It's a good episode. It's good. It's concise. It's da-da-da. We don't overhash the fucking beer can incident. We talk about it for the first 5-10 minutes.
What did I ask?
You asked if she thought about getting off stage, and she said that probably would have been the smart thing.
So you could understand what I was saying.
Yeah. It's not like when you're really fucked up, drunk.
It's in my head. It was.
No, you were fine. You could understand what you were saying as long as you could put the words in the right order.
Well, I always have a problem with that.
Yeah. So
I can imagine there.
Right. No, really no different. I think the only time that was really good was the last thing when you were talking about the inspiration. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I prove you wrong.
So no,
she's waiting.
It's a good episode. I stand by it, and I thank Ariel Elias for coming on. It was fun.
Well, it's a good thing that she didn't say, yeah, let's redo it.
No, I don't think. Never mind. No.
All right.
Line.
No, I'm not lying. I was ready to say which one first, and then I froze. But anyways, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment, please. That helps us a lot. We appreciate any comment you can give us. We don't care if it's good or bad or anything. Call us a dick fruit. That's all I care. Thank you very much.
I like dick fruit. Dick fruit's a good one.
We better never let it leave a pretty lady waiting.
Well, you're really struggling with that tonight, aren't you? Want to try that one again?
I stand by what I said.
All right. Without further ado, Anna Manis. All right. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're fantastic.
And wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Can you believe I couldn't believe it when you started following us. I was like, are you kidding me? Anna Manis? I've got to talk to her.
Well, I'm really glad to be here. So thanks.
We love comedy, and we love talking to comedians, and sometimes comedians aren't the easiest to wrangle down. So we really appreciate you coming on and giving us some time.
Anytime.
Perfect.
So yeah, we're joined by Anna Manis, comedian, actress, writer, singer, producer,
business owner.
The list is long.
What don't you do?
Let's see, sleep.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's overrated, right?
Absolutely. Who needs that? I'll do that when I'm dead.
Perfect.
So well, first we'll say cheers, and I gotta admit, I'm not manly enough to drink my Jack straight. So I got a little Coke in mine.
That's all right.
But
I am, so
cheers to that.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
So you start with your childhood.
This is fascinating.
You went to Greece at the age of 14 for opera?
Actually, I went to Greece when I was 9.
Okay.
So I grew up in New York City, and my dad had this property on an island in Greece, and decided I had been basically so many people had flashed me enough by the time I was 9 years old that my dad was like, maybe we need to take a roll back at a New York City and check out,
Wait.
where he's from.
Getting flashed was a common occurrence by the age of 9?
Actually, the first time it happened to me, I was almost 7 years old, and I was waiting outside of school and waiting for my mom to pick me up. And this
Oh.
guy had a trench coat. He was wearing nothing underneath but a belt and a machete. And I was like a little kid, and I'm just like sitting there waiting for my mom, and this guy flashes me, and I literally just start laughing and pointing. And my brother, who's a little bit older than me, pulls me away, and that was like, the first time I saw another penis. Yeah.
Wow. You
But
you saw two swords that day.
I sure as hell did, and traumatized by both.
I was gonna say, wait, have machetes become part of your bedtime routine now?
I think I blocked them out of my every time
Wow.
I see someone else.
So at least there was the traditional trench coat. I mean, if you're gonna be a flasher,
Yeah, right.
keep with tradition.
He definitely had the look of what you would think a flasher would be. But definitely did not have the balls, because he'd laugh. When I laughed, he ran. So
Yeah.
He's like, I can't get the real ladies who would be impressed.
Probably.
Maybe a little child will be. And now what? I would love to see where he's at.
yeah, right. Well, anyways,
So hopefully it didn't happen to you too often.
well, yeah, but that kind of, all those little things kind of added up, and I think my dad was like, all right, let's go check out Going to Greece. So we went there, and I was always a fan of music, and I always loved to sing, and I kind of got doing these Christmas carols and Christmas songs, and I got involved with this thing at school where I got to sing Carina Burana, and we were at the Hilton in Athens, and I started singing that as part of my solo or whatever. And there was a group of very wealthy women there who heard me singing and came up to us afterwards, tracked my mother down, tried to figure out, who I was, and basically wanted to get me involved in opera. I had no clue what I was doing. I was just this kid who listened to like White Zombie and, heavy metal, wore my Doc Martens, and, like I was just not any fan of, I didn't know opera,
Right.
So once I started doing that, I went into there, and also I was much younger. So I'm almost 6 feet tall, and I was always very tall and developed from a very young age. I always looked much older. So I think they thought I was 18, 20 years old.
Sure.
But I was only 14. So when they found that out, it was a little bit of an issue. But they were like, all right, let's audition her. And I auditioned, and there was like no question. They were just like, you're on board. We're taking you on. We don't care about the age. But it was definitely a difficult time for me trying to figure all that crap out. These were people who, took their stuff very, very seriously.
Yeah, right.
And
so how did you have to audition
yes.
in an opera song? I mean,
Yes.
and you'd never sang one before that?
I never sang opera before that. After they approached me to do this, I ran and got some songs with my music teacher at the time, and they're like, you're soprano one, let's do this, let's knock them out, let's do a good belting thing. And I was like, all right, whatever. And like I didn't even know what the song was. Like I didn't know, he was giving me all the details and everything. I was like, all right. So I learned the song, and I didn't even want to do it, like, honestly, because I was so nervous. It felt so completely out of place. And and I sang that, and they were just like, off, there's no way, we have to have you on board. So I worked with them all through high school. So I'd go to high school, and then afterwards I would go and train with them and do like concerts and all that kind of stuff. But when I went to college, I was like, it's just, it wasn't me,
Sure.
So I ventured, to, Broadway Baby, musicals and Broadway, off Broadway, started running the Michael Chekhov Theater Company, which is off Broadway company. I started producing that, producing shows there. And then I met Joe Franklin, who was America's first talk show host.
Yeah.
I do want to hear stories about Joe. That guy's.
There's plenty of stories about Joe. He is a character. He was a character.
Yeah.
he saw me in a play that I was doing, and he came up to me after the show and was like, you're brilliant, blah, blah, blah. And basically I was like, all right, listen, whatever I can learn from this guy, the better. So I ended up being his intern and worked in his office, which was insane.
Old
First of
school
all,
dude, huh?
was that
He's just an old school dude that, right?
very old school, everything that you could possibly think of like that old time Hollywood man. He is
Did he smoke?
exactly that. Yeah. Was that?
Did he smoke? Did he have a
He did
cigarette
not
dangle? Oh,
smoke. He did not smoke. Maybe when he was younger, but not when
okay.
I was around him. Yeah, he was older.
Just the
But
visual of that old school, cigarette dangling.
he was very old, like, this little guy. And
Yeah.
he literally just came right up to my tits, basically. So he all the time. And, it was just like, and he just very, very fast. And you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to meet this person, and da-da-da-da. But he was just a fire, just all this information. Every time I was with him, if it was 20 minutes or 3 hours, it was just I was just like absorbing like a sponge. And he had so many people that he knew. His office was right off of Broadway, and all of his buddies and everything. So we would go to lunch, off of Broadway, on Broadway, at Sardi's, whatever. And he'd be like, oh, you got to talk to this person, and and that person did this, that, and that. And so he kind of basically taught me who to trust, who not to trust, what to do, what not to do, like without having to do it myself first.
Yeah. What an education. I mean, that's incredible. You couldn't.
Kind of an honor. I mean, he picked you. Not that it wasn't well deserved, but I mean, did he have a lot of people working for him?
At the time, no, but he's had so many, like he had told me that so many other assistants that he had. Julia Roberts, was his assistant many years ago.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he could tell you stories about every single famous person. He's met them all. He went to his grave saying that he was interviewed the most people ever in the lifetime. Like that was his thing. Just talking and speaking to everybody he could possibly speak to. And so if you got to have any time with him, it was just like Robin Williams, but you just like, you just have to like either absorb it or it goes over your head.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, how do you retain it all? You're just like, hold on, let me write that down.
You don't like, you get whatever you can get, and you're like just grateful for it. But yeah, he was definitely a sharpshooter and an interesting character, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure.
Was he like a manager as well, or not really?
He managed my beginning of my career for sure.
Okay.
But he wasn't a manager. He just had so much going on with the stuff that he was doing that he just needed people to help manage the gajillion things that he was doing. If you went to his office, the fire department had to come to his office once a month, because there was so much memorabilia and paraphernalia and stuff stacked to the ceilings that it was a fire hazard. It was a fire hazard, and NYPD had to make a call every month because he would not budge his stuff. He's like, I've been here for so long. These fire department people have been here they've been here for 20 years. I've been here for 72 freaking years. And so he would just talk his way out of getting any fines, talk his way out of, and so he basically, they would have to come, and we would be sitting there, I'd be in his office, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 we'd have all the firemen come in, of course, talk to them. I had no problem talking to them.
I was going to say, that's good for you. I know ladies like firefighters, especially the ones from New York.
Exactly. But yes, they would check out, and it was, he definitely had so much stuff in there and so many stories, and I learned production from him. I learned how to produce from him. So I went from wanting to be on the stage to also wanting to be the person who's producing everything. And that kind of started my love for making my own stuff.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of started producing my own shows and kind of producing my own theater. I was also, at the time I was doing improv. I was doing improv with Amy Schumer on Dylan's on Broadway. We
Yeah.
did that for a long time, every Friday night.
Is that that Upright Citizens Brigade?
That was before Upright Citizens
Okay.
Brigade. This was, I would say Upright Citizens Brigade was in the mid 2015, 2013, 2012, around there. This was prior to that. I would say 8 years prior to
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay.
We were doing, we did Endangered Improv. So it was sketch comedy, but basically improvise. So we would take things from the audience and then improvise, but we always had also little sketches and stuff we would do in between that we kind of would love to work on and things like
sure.
that.
Sure.
I always loved doing sketches and improvising and doing comedy with a group.
Okay.
I love that. I love doing stand-up is great, don't get me wrong, but being able to play with other players and just being silly off the top of your head, it just thrilling.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
Who
were
are
the skits? Did you write the skits, or did you each take turns writing the skits? Or
we all wrote sketches. We would all come in with all ideas, and then we would we used to work above the Comedy Cellar. There was a apartment, like this building that we would go and rehearse in. So we would go and rehearse in there and just, we'd shoot ideas out and kind of just like write stuff. And sometimes we would write things together. And then sometimes, somebody would have something like completely done.
Sure.
Or, if I came in with an idea or story, we would just do that. But yeah, it was always like a group effort at Endangered Improv. We were all starting out comedy. So it was kind of, it's thrilling to see how we've all developed.
Yeah, I was going to say, who are some of the other people that you were there with?
They're more New York comedians, but they're definitely a riot. They're definitely a riot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any reunions planned for you guys?
Oh, I would love that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Great. Yeah, I'm sure that would definitely, I would actually love to do that.
So how did you go from that to doing your own stand-up then?
Well, I always ended up in stand-up clubs. Like, when I would run the theater company, or I was doing, improv or whatever I was doing, one of my best friends was a manager at Stand Up New York.
Okay.
I would always end up at Stand Up New York or Comic Strip Live or the Comedy Cellar or something, just watching either my friends, or that was kind of just how I ended my nights every night when I would finish the theater. So it kind of just found me, I guess.
Okay.
It's just something that I always kind of did. And then people were like, why don't you, you're so funny, why don't you jump up there? And so I was like, oh, yeah. But it was always kind of this thing for me, especially when I started, very, very different, because stand up at that time, especially, it was mostly men.
Sure.
Right now women are skyrocketing in comedy, and I'm so appreciative of that.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah, definitely. But it was always this thing where you're like, in a room with like 30 guys and like one girl,
Yeah.
So it was always daunting in that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did the first time go? How did your first open mic go?
That's good.
Oh gosh, my first.
And what was the pushing point to get up there?
Let's see, what was the pushing point for me to get up there? It was just buddies telling me, just you need to do it, and I was like, I don't know what to say, and they're like, you have material, and so I was like, all right. And the first time I went up, I didn't have anything written. I just kind of went in and kind of just winged it. And it had friends in the audience. And it was mostly comedians. And usually with open mics, they could be supportive, but they could also be very not supportive.
Sure.
But luckily, I had a couple friends in there, and it went really well. And it was more of just like a storytelling kind of thing. My second time I did it, I was a little bit more nervous because then I was like, all right, now I gotta have something written and have something prepared, and what am I gonna say? And oh my God. And I kind of overthought it. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot harder than it seemed like the first time. You know, because I was like,
Sure.
I'm on stage 100, you know, a gajillion times. I've done this guy, you know, I've done it in so many other different forms. What's the difference with stand-up? But there's a big difference.
Yeah, it's different when you're out there all by yourself flying solo. You got nobody you can lean on if you know,
Right.
all of a sudden you're without a thought in your head, you know. You're like, what do I do
Absolutely.
now?
Absolutely.
Did you ever get discouraged after the second time?
You know, I have this sick warped thing in my brain that just loves fucking with it. So I think that like every time every time that happens, I'm like, all right, well, why did that happen? And what can I do to fix that?
Okay.
And the other thing that I did was I started stand-up improv, where I made all my stand-up comedian friends do improv without their without their comedy.
Sure.
So that was a boatload of fun. A lot of them would tell me yes and then come to the show, or not show up because they were so nervous.
Yeah.
Or they would come to the show, do the show, and be like, oh my God, that was the best fucking thing I ever did. Now I'm going to put that in my bit.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Yeah, we've had some great people like Craig Gass come on there, and he just went on and on and on and really pulled so many things out of there, like that he ends up bringing in his other stuff, and it was like so cool. So
Sure. Yeah.
So I do hear your New York accent come out,
Yes.
which is great. And it just makes me think of when you had that accent moving to Greece, not to jump back, but how did that go with that culture over there? New
Oh,
York,
gosh.
you know, in Greece?
So when I first moved to Greece, like you don't understand, I spoke like this, like really, really fast, like very New York, like you don't understand, like really, and it was very, very much so. I went to the American Embassy School. So in many ways, I was surrounded by Americans. Like I kind of went in from America to an American bubble, like all embassy kids. Like I didn't speak a lick of Greek, like I didn't know anything. But there was a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of culture shock going on there. Just the way it was being run, you know, television had 2 stations.
Oh, wow.
They were both government owned. No, at the time.
So no fun.
No fun. You were not allowed to play music. You were not allowed to like have loud things. Like there was like siesta times where you were not even allowed to have your television on, or they would call the cops. Like it was strange times. It's changed, you know, but it was definitely coming from this little New York City girl who, you know, everything at her feet, and like, you know, coming there, it was definitely daunting. And I think for me, one of the reasons why comedy and music was so important was because when I went there, there was none of that. And I used, my uncle would deliver me things from the States for me to listen to and watch, like little VHS tapes and little DVDs, for me to like watch and listen to, and CDs and stuff like that, just to, you know, have some sort of America, or some sort of like
some entertainment.
I knew that I could like actually understand. Because it was literally just about 6 men screaming at each other at the same time, in a language I didn't even freaking know. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't care anyways.
Right.
So did you have to learn? Was that part of your schooling? Is to learn the language?
It wasn't part of my schooling, but I did learn. I did take lessons, and I did learn it.
Do you still speak at all? Any of it at all?
Yes, I do. Μιλάω ελληνικά πάρα πολύ καλά. Επειδή οι γονείς μου έχουν ξενοδοχείο στην Ελλάδα, έπρεπε να μάθω και εγώ τα ελληνικά. So I just said that I had to learn Greek because my parents had a hotel there, so it was really important for me to be able to speak the language as well.
Probably call us a couple names too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Malacca. That's a good one.
So would you say that you have your sense of humor is the same as your uncle since he was sending you stuff? You enjoyed
Yeah,
it?
we have a lot of similar sense of humor. Absolutely.
And what did he send you?
Oh gosh, he would send me anything that he could tape in comedy. So from sitcoms to stand-ups.
Mm.
So there was like, Eddie Murphy stand-ups. There was Andrew Dice Clay stand-ups. There were Richard Pryor records. There were out of television shows, like anything that was on that was funny.
Sure.
So I basically would just watch these things over and over again. And I believe that it probably definitely did something with it.
Well, you got Andrew Dice, a fellow New Yorker, so there's a
Yeah.
connection there.
Absolutely. Dice is kind of a big one for me. My mom was a fashion designer growing up, and she worked late. And my aunt, who was actually closer in age with me than her sister, would babysit us. And she was kind of like a teenager who loved heavy metal and rock and
Perfect.
loved comedy. And that's basically where I learned everything. I was like 3 years old singing War Pigs. I got in trouble in kindergarten for saying songs from Black Sabbath, like all that kind of stuff. So she was the one who taught me what the Andrew Dice Clay Little Boy Blue. He needed the money.
Oh yeah.
I said that in school. I got in trouble for that.
It flies in New York, but
yeah, exactly.
Andrew Dice Clay's Instagram feed is the most him just walking around New York, going up to people.
I love it. Oh my Andrew,
it's so hilarious.
Did you ever get to work with him?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Oh, not yet. There you go.
I would absolutely love that. That would be a dream come true.
I'll say, yeah, them New Yorkers. You just did that show in Nashville with Christy Miller and Raylan Nelson, and obviously Christy knows Dice real well. So
she does, absolutely. She's a pisser. I love her to pieces.
Yeah,
we had
her on. She was great.
She was a good.
Yeah, she's certainly not afraid to say it like it is.
Absolutely not. She'll definitely has no filter, and that's the one thing I love about her. She'll keep it real. That's for sure.
Yeah. So how did you get to know Raylan?
I met Raylan. I was doing a show here with Jim with Don Jameson.
Okay.
And I was on the show with him. I was opening for him, and he introduced me to Raylan. Okay. And she was her first time that she was going to be doing stand-up.
Oh, nice.
So she was like, oh my gosh, I'm a little nervous. And I was like, girl, so I kind of gave her a little, girls talk about comedy or know, and then she killed it, and she did great, and it was awesome, and we've been buddies ever since.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Gone and seen her play live a couple times, and she likes to, even when she's doing music, she likes to run the comedy bits in between songs. So she's got that.
That's why it was like it's natural for her. Like she just has that, so it's like not a problem whatsoever. It's perfect for her.
And now you live in Nashville?
I do live in Nashville.
How is that moving away from your beloved New York? I
never thought I would do it. I never thought I would do it, I have to say. But I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely it's been daunting trying to live somewhere else because it's always something new, but it's also it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to learn a lot. I got pulled out of every single connection that I have had in my career and life and family and everything. Never thought I was going to lose that. So I got very comfortable. And I think by moving, it made things for me a little, it made me realize like, hey, you gotta, you're a little too comfortable. So it was actually a good thing, which I'm really happy about for that. We got a couple of shows coming out here, we're filming, and could not have done that if I was in New York at the time. So I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah,
That sounds so fun.
let's
Yeah.
talk about one of them. Is one of them that dodging reality?
It is, absolutely.
So tell us about that. When is it? I think I've seen like a little trailer for it, but
Some clips, but
yeah.
Yes. So Dodging Reality is a sketch music show. Basically, it's a variety show of different talents. So it has comedy and music and art and anything you could possibly think of that an entertainer might be able to bring to you, and a lot of sketch comedy, a lot of different characters, a lot of fun. Just basically every 2 minutes you're going to be entertained by something different.
Okay.
And it's perfect for somebody who has ADD, I would say.
oh, I'll love it.
Well, it's perfect for the short attention span that
Absolutely.
we all have now. So
it sounds like you're just taking everything you've done up till now and throwing it into a show, which is
Well, yeah, basically I've been doing these shows live for so long.
Right.
And also mixing so many of my friends and their talents on these shows, and I've been doing them live. So it's been great to be doing them live, but now I have the opportunity to be able to put it on television and be able to have a huge slew of people to see what we've been doing. And I'm super excited about it. It's been a lot of fun, and a lot of people want to jump on board and be part. So
cool.
I'm excited to see where it's going to go. It's just super silly, stupid fun, just dodging reality, basically.
It is what it says, right?
Minutes. Yeah.
So when you say television, where can you watch it on television?
So right now it's on Music City Arts TV.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be coming out this month, and we're going to be streaming it, which we're going to be announcing very shortly on certain places, streaming places.
Cool.
That's coming out shortly.
Okay, well, good. We're looking forward to that. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that besides that? I mean, was that one of the drivers to get you to move to Nashville, or what? What was the big move for? Besides, you wanted to be uncomfortable.
No.
Go ahead. Maybe we need to. Did we cheers yet?
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
we should cheers.
Did we cheers yet? Thanks, Raylan.
No, my husband had to come here for work, and that's basically the reason I came here. But I definitely have to say it's been a blessing.
Good. Yeah, we were actually just there in October.
That's awesome.
Spent a weekend down there, and it's a great city, a lot of fun.
It's a lot too much fun.
Your first time?
It was my second time actually in the same year. I went.
Oh wow!
First time I went in February, and we had so much fun. We went back in October. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we got to go out to the comedy club a couple times while we were there this time. And
what did you get to see?
Two good shows.
Christina P. and Chase O'Donnell were one night, and then
oh, nice. Oh, I was there.
Were you really?
I was at that show. Yeah, that was a great show.
It was.
They were.
It was. We've
awesome.
We've had Chase on the podcast, and we love her. She's such a sweetheart.
She's great. She's so adorable and fun. I love her.
And then we went back on Sunday night and saw Dave Williamson. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't get to catch that one.
It's a cool club. That was our first time at that club. It's a cool club.
It really is. When I first moved here, I actually moved 2 blocks from Zanies just so I can be able to walk over and go to whatever show I can possibly do.
Oh,
actually.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like the old days, just show up and end your night there like you used to.
Well, yeah, that was the plan. Like when I first came here, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about
the comedy scene, or
the comedy scene here. Yeah, I just knew music, so I really had to immerse myself into whatever I could find.
Yeah, it does seem like it has a pretty nice comedy scene though. I mean, not just Zanies, like there's other comedy going on all over the place.
It's definitely evolving, and that's exciting. It's exciting to see all these little places starting popping up.
Yeah, for sure. And you just did a stand-up and laugh show. Was that just last weekend?
Yes, we did stand up and laugh last weekend. It was our premiere of our show, which is we're basically doing different series. So doing a series of different holidays. So this was stand up and laugh at the holidays. And so we were basically roasting the holidays. And it was super fun, and it's coming out this Friday, actually tomorrow, on Music City Arts TV.
Okay.
We're stoked about that. And then our next one will be in February, and that's Stand Up and Laugh at Love.
And you
There's the one I want to see.
right? And you raised a whole bunch of money for instruments instruments for education.
Oh,
That was my favorite part about the evening, was that we were able to raise so much money for them and actually be able to bring we actually were able to have people drive in from out of Nashville that had instruments that they were able to donate, that were literally handed to students and children the next day.
That's amazing.
That to me makes everything that I do like all much better.
Yeah.
Like I love doing comedy. I love producing shows. I love all of that kind of stuff. But to be able to do this stuff and give back to people who actually need these things is by far the most important thing to me. So that was super, super exciting to be able to do that for those kids.
Will you
It
be
is cool in music. It sometimes in a lot of schools it's getting lost. So
right? Exactly.
you know, you don't want to lose that. It
Well,
opens
that's
the
the
mind so
problem.
much. Yeah.
That's the problem. Like you see like all these schools that we're like in Music City, and they're telling us that like there's not enough instruments in these schools. Like it's just alarming. And you know, like if it's happening here in Tennessee where they're, you know, it's supposed to be like Music City, like
Right.
like that around the country. And I know that music is being lost, and it's needed. It's needed in these schools. Like they're trying to focus on taking these tests, but
Yeah.
really entertainment and arts is so important, I think, for kids.
It
And
is. Huh?
for them
It's
to
so much
grow
more
up.
than just music. I mean, it expands their minds. It makes them learn and listen, and
Yeah, it's
so much
socializing,
bigger.
it's-
There's
yeah.
so much math in music,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When I first went to college, I was a double major in theater and music, and one of my first classes was music composition and music theory, and there was so much math in it. I had to take it twice. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I'm like in music, like I just fucking have to sing. Like, what are you talking about? Numbers.
Yeah, right.
Like,
As long as you could count to 4, you were good with music. Then
like it's like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's go. Like, no, like there's a lot, it was very complicated. So
when it is definitely needed. I just was at my daughter's 7, and I was just at her Christmas concert this week, and just the look of the faces on the kids while they're singing those songs and knowing that moms and dads are out there watching. Yeah, it's absolutely needed. And it's great for her, you know, like it builds self-confidence because they're out there in front of people, and you
absolutely.
Yeah.
so it's
an
not just
outlet.
it's
Definitely an outlet. It's an outlet for anxiety, stress, for many, many things. And for kids, especially when they're like growing up and they're trying to figure out who the heck they are.
right.
You know, you're stuck in class with math and science and all this crap. Like at least you have like, you know, could bang on a drum for half an hour. Like, you know,
Right.
like get it out. You're like, so the fact that these schools just don't have that, it was just so alarming to me. I was like, okay, what can I do? Like, what can we do? Like, it's such a little tiny thing, but I was like, what can I do?
But still, it's something. I mean, not everybody's doing something. So cheers to you. I mean, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
think more people need to. It's so simple to, you know, just get the word out, even if you can't afford to do it financially, like just speaking about things and talking about these things and getting the word out, because you know, just by me talking about that, those families drove out from, I think they drove like 2 hours
Wow.
with, you know, they were an older couple. They had a bunch of grandchildren, had all these old instruments. They saw the ad and they're like, all right. And I was like, this is what it's about. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
comedy and all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's great. Like, but that for me was just like, that made my holiday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Do you play any instruments too?
Well, I used to, so I don't want to say I play anymore, because if you ask me, I'm going to sound horrible. But I used to play the piano and I played the guitar, but I sing. So I still that for me is.
Yeah, I was good. How much singing do you still do?
I don't do it professionally anymore, but I just do it for fun.
Yeah, in the shower and.
Yeah, I sing all the time.
Yeah.
When everybody doesn't want to hear me.
And you do, I mean, you do some comedy songs as well too. So you get
I
your
do. I
singing
write a lot
ability.
of parodies.
Yeah.
So I used to write a lot of music, and every time I would write them after a while, I was just like, they would always end up so serious, and I would sing them and I'd be like, and then I was like, this is just too serious, like too much, you know? So they just always I would just always end up making them funny.
Yeah.
So it kind of just organically came where, I would just write these songs and perform these songs where they were just,
Sure.
songs that you might know, but they're, definitely funny lyrics or parodies. And
any thoughts of like a full-length comedy musical?
it's funny that you say that. I've done something sort of similar like that live. So that is something that I've been wanting to do. So on film. So that might be in the future.
Well, are you going to sing these songs on the TV show, Dodging Reality?
Well, yeah, the Dodging Reality definitely has music parodies in there. I do sing in there. We definitely have a lot of not just my music parodies, but other musicians and other comedians that have written music parodies as well. We've done like music videos for them, and they've been super silly and super fun.
Okay.
Was this your idea presented to the television network, or how did you get involved with them?
So when I first moved to Nashville, I was like, what am I going to do here? How am I going to how am I going to find anything here? So I moved next to Zany's. That was the first thing. And then
you said, I'll go to Nashville, but I'm living right next door to the comedy club.
That was my compromise. I was like, I have to have something. Like, you have to give me something. It can't live next to a cow. Like, I need something. Like, yeah. So when I first got here, I got involved with the Nashville Filmmakers Film Festival.
Okay.
They had a big festival here. It was the 50th anniversary, and I got involved in meeting some people there. And through there, somebody had mentioned this network, this company, NECAT, that you can produce your shows and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh wow, seems right up my alley. I produce shows live. Why not produce them for television? A dream I've always had, but couldn't really do that in New York. I was always producing for somebody else because I couldn't afford that, So I was like, wow, let me check this out. So I signed up, and the week that I was supposed to start was when COVID hit.
Oh.
And the week that I was supposed to go, I get the email saying that they're closed, and they're closed indefinitely. And due to the fact that so many people come in the studio, they think that they're never going to open again. So I was like, all right, well, there goes that idea.
It was so close.
So close. So then I kind of spent the COVID time just, trying to figure out where and what and what I'm going to do, and try to figure out, maybe I'll find to do it online. Maybe I'll, just make little videos and, do something on YouTube, but it just wasn't sitting right with me. Like, it just didn't sit right. And then, sure enough, I got that phone call or that email actually saying that, hey, we're opening, and if you're interested in doing this again. I was like, oh, so I jumped right in. And
first one at the door.
Yeah, I ran as fast as I could. And it's been a blessing. They've been so wonderful. There's Emmy-nominated people that are working there. They're so talented, so smart, so helpful. And I couldn't be more grateful for that. One of the reasons why I love being here in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
so how did the pitch meeting go when you originally went in there to say, I got an idea? Did you have to sell them on it or compromise, or
luckily I didn't have to sell them too much on anything. And the stand-up show is actually, they came to me because they saw me filming this show there. And every time I come in, it's always something different. I'm always in a different character. I was like God's assistant, and then I'm like a devil. Like every time I'm in there, they're like, okay, like what is she doing? So they approached me because they had a show on their channel called Nashville Stand Up that'd been running for 3 years, and the host was leaving. And so they said to me, like, hey, listen, we love what you're doing here. This is great. Would you be interested in taking over, this position for this show? And I was like, all right, well, why not pile everything on? But I was actually so happy to do it, because that for me is like so easy. Like producing stand-up shows are like something that I could do with my eyes closed right now. And I'm so happy that I could do it in a way that I could give back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're still hosting the
have
show?
to sell them.
Wait, no, well, sure. Are you still hosting the? So you're doing okay?
Yeah,
it's still going on.
I'm doing both. Yep. The next one will be this one. Stand up just finished last week. We'll be on this month, and then we'll be running the February one right around Valentine's Day.
And will you have a different charity for each one? Or are you going to have is it the same charity for each one? Or?
They're different charities.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll be working with the charities separately. We're going to be like, now I'm going to be working with Instruments for Education. We'll be doing shows together off air, whatever I can do to, do music and comedy shows in Nashville and stuff like that on the side to help them. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is that something that channel they can get? Do they broadcast on YouTube or anything that you can catch some episodes, or somebody that's out of state can see?
Yes. I could definitely broadcast it wherever I want. Once it's on their channel, I have full producer rights. My production company does. So I will be I'll be streaming it in many different places. We're just, we're going to be giving that information out in the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're not getting the exclusive. Calm down.
I'm trying though. I'm trying.
I wish I could tell you. I really wish.
But the Nashville Live that you host as well?
Yes. Everything that I'll be doing will also be streamed.
So that will be as well.
Yeah, it'll be streamed on, the Nashville television show, the stand-up show, Dodging Reality. We also do interviews with all of the comedians, so we'll also have those on there as well.
Cool.
So she's just starting her own channel, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. That's good.
24-hour.
It's my channel now.
24-hour Anna.
So we just talked to Ariel Elias a week ago. I don't know if you saw the video of her getting the beer can thrown at her. I'm curious if you have any horrific
horror stories.
Not like that. I've had a lot of weird things after the show, not during the show, just like creepy dudes.
Yeah, of course.
Following.
Oh, way to call me out.
Of course.
Yeah. That's basically, I've never had anything thrown at me, but girl, like she handled it so well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I would have handled it. I'll tell you
I know it's funny. She said it was the only way to handle it. I'm like, that may be true, but I don't know that anybody would have thought to handle it that way. I mean, my first thought is coming off the stage. Like I'm going for the dressing room or I'm going after him.
I don't know what I would have done. I probably I have that New York reflex. So
yeah.
It's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
I could be like, oh no, and then like you said, like run, or I could go for the man. Like
and sources tell me you've done a little boxing in your life, so you probably could take care of yourself.
It might be going after him.
Boxing, martial arts, boxing, all that's my I love that. My brother owns a jiu-jitsu school. My niece is number 2 or 3 in wrestling. Like we're just definitely we're lovers, but we're fighters.
Well, you're New Yorkers.
You're New York, yes.
Exactly. I would never, ever, 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 ever pick a fight. Like that's not who I am. But I've also learned how to protect myself. because I've had to.
Yeah,
You
that
had
would,
to,
yeah,
yeah.
especially I can only imagine coming up early in comedy as a woman. That
those
is
years.
not the
That has been, yeah. And one of the reasons why I did a lot of group comedy and I didn't tour as much.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of the reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
Touring sucked.
Oh, it can. And the heckler, you never know what you're going to get. But New York
That's the problem.
hecklers, are they? I mean, I can imagine you can dish it right back. So I'm sure you've had some people just drunk and sarcastic, but
Absolutely.
how do you handle them? Do you pick on them or?
Do I pick on them? I do. Usually I'll either pick on them or I'll pick on the situation. Like I'll like, for example, like if there was a guy that's in the audience, right? And he's sitting there and I could tell when you walk out on stage, if it's a small venue, you see everybody. You can kind of tell you can kind of feel your audience.
Yeah.
Feel if they're going to be like one of the audience that are going to give you love or going to give you a hard time, or like, at least I can, when I get on stage, I kind of can sense that. And sometimes you'll get on and you'll feel like that. And there'll be that one guy that you just know is trouble. And you just, all right, now I have to try and win that person over. I used to try and do that for a long time when I would do my comedy. It's like, I want to try and win that guy that's not, and now I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
I'm not going to try. If you can't jump aboard, don't jump aboard.
Right.
But there's always those guys that you'll feel that, they're sensing something. And then you'll see like it gets to the point of anger or gets to the point of something else. And that's where like my little trigger flag goes up, all right, now this guy's going to either say something. And then that's when my New York comes in, where like, and so I will definitely get a little bit more New York. I'll definitely, it definitely comes out stronger.
That's just like now, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice tool to have in the bag to be able to go to a New York accent when you need it.
Hey, don't you mess with me.
All right.
Yeah, so I will definitely point it out. So if I see that they're going to start something, I'll point it out before they do. So I'll try and nip it before they say something. If I see the guy's getting a little uncomfortable, if he's talking or he's like, whatever, I'll embarrass him in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the balls and to try and come back. And if he does, then he'll just get the wrath. Like,
right. Get him on your side.
I used to try, like, I in my comedy, like I'm more about like it's all about myself. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't like to talk shit about others so much.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna come at me, you're gonna get it. Like, that's just the way it is.
But, well, then it's deserved.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. Like, you want sweet, I'll give you sweet. Like,
yeah, I mean, every time you go to a comedy club, it seems like there's the one person who needs to interject themselves into the show. And
always.
like,
and sometimes it's sometimes it's really funny because it's the drunk girl who just wants something to say, like she wants to be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So then she'll just start talking and you're like, okay, nobody wants to be listening to your 15 minutes of your conversation of what you've done. They're all paid to see us on stage here. And you have to kind of, quietly stop them from chatting.
Yeah.
That's always interesting. That's always fun.
Has there ever been a time that you had to get someone kicked out? You're just like, I've had enough. They're just not shutting up or changing.
That's probably, I'm trying to think of situations that's happened specifically to me.
Well, hopefully,
I mean, if not, that's a good thing, but
well, and hopefully if you're playing a good comedy club, they're paying attention. You don't need to get them kicked out because they know that this person's interrupting the show. And
exactly.
So, but I'm assuming that's not all comedy clubs. There's probably some that are better than others.
Not. And I was lucky enough to do a lot of my comedy in New York City where like the audiences are really tough, but they also know that they're an audience. Like, you're comedy clubs in certain areas, and I'm not going to just say the South, but in other areas, sometimes in smaller clubs, smaller venues, the audiences are not used to comedy, or they're not used to knowing how to handle comedians or know how to be in a venue of comedians.
You're being very nice right now.
I'm trying to say it in
You're
the most
trying.
polite way possible.
Like, I'm from the South now. I have to be nice.
Yeah, man, I don't want to be shot. Everybody has a gun here.
That's true. That's true. So what is your joke writing? I would assume with you coming from improv and sketch comedy that you probably don't have it all pencil written down and line for line. So
no, not unless I'm doing something, like if I'm going to be recording something, I want to have it written out for timing.
Sure.
Because I talk a lot, and if I get involved in something in my mind, like I can go off on 8 tangents, and it's all great and fun and you know what? But if I have to do like, all right, you have 5 minutes, and then when I have that tightness, I like to have not necessarily word for word, but beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
And points, so I could see, okay, I'm at 2.5. Did I hit that joke? Okay, now, so I kind of do that when I'm recording. If I'm a little bit more lenient when they're my own shows, I don't need somebody behind me, I can kind of just, all right, it might be 8 minutes, it might be 20 minutes, it depends on the people I'm talking to, how I'm feeling, what I have to say that day. It really all depends. Sometimes I'll get on stage and I feel like the people aren't feeling me, and I'm like, all right, I'll say 3 jokes and I'm done. Like, I don't have to like win everybody over. I'm not trying to prove,
Right.
like, it's like, all right, not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, let me get you the next person, maybe they'll be a cup of tea. And that's something that I think I took many years of me being on stage to learn. Because when I first started doing stand-up, it was like, what did I do? I said those jokes exactly. I hit the note. I thought I was funny, like all these things. And you're like, why, why didn't it work? It worked yesterday. And you could be,
you want everyone to love you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just came out. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, I don't freaking care. Like,
There's a good at it. Yes. New York, I thought that was how you were raised. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Honestly, it is. I don't, it really is. And it's funny too, because I think growing up with my family in hospitality, like my parents having like the hotel, I lived on the summers basically running the hotel, selling, what can I do for you? Like in every language, because it was an international hotel. So I had to learn how to help, like, people and
please, yep.
Yeah, and in all different languages, and learn how to be able to accommodate these people. And I think it kind of is like, it's still in me. And it's funny too, because like people are like, why do you give a shit? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't.
I really don't.
I just like to make people feel comfortable sometimes. Like, I don't know.
Right. I mean, yeah, you want people to be comfortable, but if you put in the effort and they're not, well, fuck them.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I'll give it my best. And if, there's some people that you just can't win no matter what. So,
no, exactly. And when it's funny too, because when my comedies, it is different than my everyday personality. I'm very bubbly, and sometimes in my comedy, like, I am very fuck you to you, like, so it is funny sometimes. People are like, whoa, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, it comes in and out. It depends on my mood. Like,
yeah.
It depends on what you're gonna get. It depends on the day.
Right.
Wake up and say, all right, what am I gonna be today?
There you go. Perfect. I heard you say earlier that you weren't a big fan of touring.
Yeah.
But have you visited what other comedy clubs or areas have you visited that you would like to go back to or enjoy?
Oh, well, LA Comedy Store, I love that.
Okay.
Nashville, obviously. Let's see. Out of New York, a good club that I enjoyed. Oh, it's funny because it's in Florida, but I did like a Side Splitters in Tampa.
Yeah.
That's a great venue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's let's see what I'm trying to think.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's probably,
A lot of
Yeah.
good venues, but even the crowds, sometimes you get a good crowd. You didn't expect it.
yeah, it's more, yeah, it's always about the crowd. It's always, it could be the same place, but it depends on like who's going to
Yeah,
be
right.
that night.
Yeah, you
Like
two
if you
different.
even like the Christina P, like if like she was there all week, right? It's like different audiences. She's hysterical no matter what, but the
Right.
audiences are pulling different, are pulling it out, or seeing it completely different,
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes like they're rolling in it, and sometimes they're not.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get a crowd that's flat, and if you don't
Yeah.
get if you don't get it early where people are laughing early, it's going to be harder for it to build. And
Absolutely. And I feel that in the South, doing comedy in the South are a lot more what's the word?
Trying to be nice again.
They're they're more nice. They're nicer audiences.
okay, yeah.
Like I know that like when you do a venue and you're like everybody's there that is a musician, they don't want to laugh, like they it's almost like
Right.
they have this show on them, like it's like, yeah, you're funny, but they don't want to give it to you,
Right.
like and in New York that's very much true too. Like in New York it's really hard to get a laugh, it's but uh in the South it's almost like, oh, good job. Oh, I don't know if that was the funniest thing I've ever seen, but I
Well,
really
yeah.
appreciate it. Like it's just so sweet. It's
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason most New York comics are a little bitter and
A little
aggressive.
brass.
Yeah.
The brasser
Oh, yeah.
comedy.
But that's where the best
Absolutely.
comedy comes from. So, in my
Oh my
opinion.
gosh, absolutely. Dave Attell, like, come on. Like
Yeah.
he would always be at the Comedy Cellar and give us advice. Like when I first started, first doing comedy, he'd be like, why are you doing this? Don't do this. You don't want to do this. You
Yeah.
really don't want to do this. Are you sure you want to do this? And then like after we'd see us like always there, then he would every once in a while give like a really like bit of information. It was super helpful,
Mhm.
like, don't do it that way, or that was, and it was always, it's funny to me because, he seems like the guy that you would never get help from.
Right.
You don't want to approach them.
Right, exactly. But honestly, for me, he's always, and from everybody I've seen him with, he's always been super generous, super helpful with other comedians. Definitely not what you would think for his persona as a comedian,
Right.
but as a person in the business, I can't say nicer things about him. So,
And he's funny.
And
it's freaking hilarious.
He
Oh
is,
my
yeah.
gosh, we would just sit there and watch him, like just awe, like, jaw drops, like
yeah, how cool to be coming up when he's just doing his thing. And
yeah, that was the best
man.
part about that was like one of the reasons why I would always end up in the comedy clubs. Like I'd be there and Seinfeld would jump in or Sandler would jump in, and it's like, who's going to be there tonight, and who's going to steal my friend's position because they got that great spot, and now Sandler's coming in, so now he gets to
Right.
like, but all that stuff, it was just so exciting and fun, and like, I got FOMO. You don't want to miss out on that stuff. And like,
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
So
All the memories.
It's awesome.
yeah, it's so cool. And I miss that. That's the one thing I do miss about being in New York. It's
Do
like,
you get back at all?
I do, but not as often as I would like.
Yeah.
When I first moved here before COVID hit, I was in New York at least twice a month.
Okay.
But once it hit and things changed and work's changed and everything, I kind of I'm not there as often as I was.
Yeah. Got to get back.
I
Yeah.
absolutely do. I'm definitely now with these shows and filming with these shows, it's been keeping me really busy. So it's definitely I'm definitely itching. Like I'm definitely itching to get there.
Itching to get back. Are you itching
Yeah.
to do produce any live stage shows anymore? I mean, it seems
Oh
like you're
yeah.
doing.
I'm
Do you
still
have,
doing those as well. Yeah, we did this weekend. We did in Nashville some live shows, and I'm gonna continue doing. I love live. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, like the theater.
oh yeah, I would love to do more theater. At the moment, I'm not, but
Right. Is
uh,
there any? There's got to be an avenue down there. You just haven't cracked it yet. You'll get there.
yeah, actually, it's funny. There's not that many theatrical venues in Nashville.
Hmm.
They have the TPAC, which is the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
And basically everything runs out of there as far as theater goes.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, when you look at like film, I've been filming a lot of sketches, and I've been able to use my guys, my friends, whoever been able to come. But when I haven't been able to use those people, and I've been able to try and use people that work here, they only know music. Like they only know music videos. They only know how to work music videos, film music videos. They're just not involved in comedy in that part.
Sure.
So it's
Interesting. Yeah.
it's different. Yeah.
Well, you're there to teach them.
Yeah, no, it's actually they really love it. Like every time we have like a new filmographer who's only done music videos, and then they come and do one of our sketches, they're like, anytime you want us to do this, I've never laughed harder on a works day. Well, come and play with us. We'll make you laugh all day. Like,
That's perfect.
so yeah, it's been fun. It's definitely, and they love it because it's something different than they're used to filming.
Right.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Completely
Yeah.
different than what they're used to.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. And
It was
Yeah,
my
thank you, Adele.
pleasure. Thank
spending
you
a
guys
Thursday
so
night with us. Go ahead and promote away whatever you want to promote. And
It's nice having another whiskey on the rocks drinker.
Cheers.
Join us.
I'm
Cheers
so
again.
happy about that.
Did we cheers yet?
we didn't cheers yet. Cheers.
Cheers.
So yeah, promote
Floor
away.
is
Tell us where
yours.
we can find
Wow,
you.
you can find me on the Anna Manis on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And you can find Stand Up and Laugh TV is also on all those channels as well. You'll find more information about that in the next couple of weeks as to where you can find it on TV. And we also have Dodging Reality with Anna, and that's also on all the socials as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really
Perfect.
appreciate it. It's been a lot of
It's
fun.
really, truly a pleasure. So thank you guys for chatting with me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It was a wonderful time.
All right.
You guys
Have a good
great
night.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.